Before we get into this episode, there's something that might be of interest that I wanted to tell you about. Scene and Heard, who run this podcast, have been asked by Scotland Food and Drink to undertake a strategic review of the Scotland Food and Drink Excellence Awards. Now, these Excellence Awards have been going for almost 20 years and are a huge mainstay of the food and drink sector. But it's time to ensure that they're still relevant. So if you have ever been involved in the Scotland Food and Drink Excellence Awards, or even if you've ever had an opinion about them, we would love for you, please, to complete our survey. So if you go to the OnFARM Twitter, which is at @on_farm UK, and click the link in the bio, there will be a tab in there that will take you to the survey, and it should only take you a very short while to complete, but we would be enormously grateful.
Welcome back to OnFARM. It's Monty with you this time. This episode is going out in what should be Royal Highland Show Week 2021. Except, unfortunately, we're still feeling the effects of COVID-19, and it's the second year running where the show cannot take place in its usual format. Instead, and I'm so delighted that the organisers have been able to pull this off, and wish them all the best, they've got a week-long online Highland Showcase, which starts today. There's a lot of the usual livestock and equestrian classes taking place, live in the show rings, but instead of you being ringside, you're able to view from the comfort of your own sofa. I hope you take the time to get along to that and enjoy. This time last year, OnFARM ran a special series of 14 episodes in partnership with RHASS, the Royal Highland Agricultural Society. And that was part of our efforts to keep everyone going through the first lockdown, and also to remind people of RHASS's work and the work of charities and organisations they support, like RSABI, RET and the SAYFC, Young Farmers Association. We thought we'd start today's episode with the first couple of minutes from that series with RHASS. A little something for everyone who's going to be missing the show this week.
I have gone to the Highland Show since I was a young girl, really. You walk in that east gate and it's the buzz of the people.
I first went to the Highland Show with my father when it was at Alloa. As soon as it started to come to Ingliston, I don't think I've missed a year.
I can always remember going to the Highland Show with a long list, ready to go to Pony Club Camp, a schooling whip, even though I already had a schooling whip from the previous year, new numnas, new jodhpurs. And then I think as I grew older and I came into Young Farmers, my interest in the Highland Show slightly changed into a more social scene.
That's one of the things about the Highland Show, is it's definitely an event for socialising and catching up with people.
The people that you meet, that you've known for, well, in my case, 60 years.
Social media and everything allows quite a bit of interaction and banter at different times of year, but there's nothing better than meeting up face to face and a couple of pints maybe, if that's what you fancy.
From sleeping in a caravan, sleeping in the back of a stock trailer. You didn't know that, Fergus, did you?
Aye.
Sleeping in the back of a stock trailer with sawdust on the floor. That is actually where I didn't meet my husband, but we got together. But we won't share that story right now, especially when my son's listening.
What I really love about the Highland Show is basically just seeing all my friends. My birthday's just before, so I have quite a lot of money to spend there.
I used to go with my son as a wee boy, and he used to be pulling at my trousers. You know, come on, Dad, get a move on. You're stopping to speak to so many people. Well, now when I go round with him, it's the other way round. He's stopping to speak to people. But I don't pull his trouser leg. I'm quite interested.
Although it's June and you're well into like the summer season, that's a lot of people. They've got lambing calving out the way, they've done all their spring work, and you're feeling good about the season, or you want to try and forget about it, and it's quite a good environment to do either.
When I heard the Highland Show was cancelled, initially it was gutted, because it is just something I always go to every year.
It wasn't a great surprise that it was cancelled, but yeah, just a big disappointment. What about you?
I was literally just coming down from our breakfast, or was I coming up from feeding the calves? I was coming up for feeding the calves, getting my breakfast and getting ready to do schoolwork when I was told, the Highland Show's cancelled.
What I will miss is watching the Grand Parade from outside the new members pavilion, enjoying a refreshment or two with my family and friends. Oh, and the £20 that my dad gives me from my pocket.
We've got to stick with the rules, haven't we? And it's pretty hard. All the officials and the directors and the people who were building up to show livestock and the people who were building up to take machinery there. Such a great shame that all that's... It's not finished. It's just laid aside for a year, we hope.
The thing that I'm going to miss, my husband and I definitely are going to miss this year, is just not seeing people. Familiar faces that we're probably not going to see for another year again now, so. And the gin tent. I'm going to miss the gin tent.
Well, I enjoyed hearing those voices again. It was great to hear them. If you're a newcomer to listening to OnFARM, I think you could do worse than go back and find the 14 episodes with RHASS from this time last year. You'll find them in your podcast feed. And it's especially a good idea this week when we're all wishing we were at the show. I suppose in my case, probably wishing I was in a whiskey tent rather than a gin tent, but that's a by the by. A second year without a Highland Show. It's a big blow for many of us. Particularly tough, I imagine, for young folk and the young farmers who look forward to the Highland Show as that one big opportunity each year to get together with friends from all over Scotland and further afield. So, for today's episode, we thought we'd get a perspective from SAYFC, the Scottish Association of Young Farmers Clubs, on how the last 18 months have been for young rural people in lockdown.
My name is Hamish Logan. I am the new National Communications and Marketing Chair of SAYFC. I'm originally from East Lothian, from a family farm in East Lothian just outside Edinburgh, and as a day job I'm a farm consultant.
So Hamish, we've heard a bit there about how much it means to people, how much they're missing the show. I think when we recorded those episodes, people were really hoping that we'd be back live with a full Highland Show in 2021, and unfortunately we're not. What does it mean? What does the show mean from a young farmer's point of view?
I think the show it's a brilliant thing for everybody to attend. For us as the younger generation, going out and meeting people and seeing our friends, seeing family that you've not seen for a long period of time, I think is a key part of the show. But also as well, like I suppose from a young farmer point of view, we usually would have lots of events going on, tug of war and various other things that are going on. So being able to compete in these events and having the competitions as well is another side of it as well. And then also the socialising, which was also mentioned in those clips as well, the seeing people and catching up, having a drink and just seeing people. And I think that's become more apparent as well over the past 18 months when with the pandemic as well, that we've not been seeing people as much, but now meeting up is much a bigger thing now. And I think going forward as well, people will appreciate that more as well whilst being at the show in future. You
surely don't socialise in the same way as we did at the show back in the day.
Oh, can't comment about that. Can't comment.
But yeah, it's been tough for everyone these last 18 months or whatever, pandemic. But I would say particularly tough for young people and especially those in the countryside, maybe with isolation and what have you, who would normally be at young farmers and that would be their social life. You know, just give us a wee bit of an insight. How do you think people have been feeling?
I think a key part of young farmers is actually the social aspect of going to events, seeing people and meeting up with your friends in the rural area. Obviously that's not been happening and our generation has missed out on that. And also missed out on plenty of other life events as well, such as your 21st as well. Like that was a massive event for me when I turned 21, having my own 21st, and a lot of people haven't been able to have that. So I do think it has taken its toll. It has affected many young farmers, I'm sure, across the area. But you need to think of it positively, and now we are able to do these sorts of things. We are able to see people, and we just need to take those opportunities now and try and just basically do them and go and meet people.
I like your attitude. Is this you saying to me, you know, give up, Monty. Don't dwell on what's happened. We're moving forward, and that's where SAYFC wants to be. We want to move things forward, and we as young folk, as it were, want to move things forward.
I think we have to be. If we start dwelling too much on what's happened, you're never going to get out of the bit, if you want to call it that. And I think we do need to look at the future and come out of this with our heads held high and say, look, just forget about the last 18 months. The last 18 months has been what it's been. Let's just move on. And I think a lot of people, if they do think back what has actually happened in the last 18 months, they probably have achieved quite a lot. Me personally, I have achieved quite a lot in the last 18 months, even though I have been in lockdown for a large amount of it. But I think we do need to come out of it positively. We need to think about how the association, how young farmers clubs, how we can get more members, how we can all come out of it and try and move forward as best we can. The last 18 months has been tough for everybody. We all know that. But I think from young farmers as well, like, we've not had the events, we've not had the show dances, we've not had the dinner dances, we've not been able to raise our own funding and cash as well to help boost our own income, both from a club level and also from an SAYFC association level. So we hope that this will be able to promote the young farmers, and how we aren't actually sitting still. We are doing things, we are progressing, events are being organised, and lots of clubs have started up doing lots of different things.
So talk us through that. I mean, I don't want to dwell on it, but talk us through that a little bit. What were the last 18 months like from a club point of view, with no events, with no face-to-face, with just nothing that you're used to doing?
A lot of Zoom and a lot of virtual events. I think clubs made best of the situation. They did virtual events. They did do sort of things like mock auctions virtually. They did speech making practices virtually, stock judging, quizzes, all these sorts of things. And I think that really was a key part to it. Like, it was bringing members together. Okay, it was virtually, but they were still seeing each other. They were still doing events that usually would have taken place in physical, but still you could still do it virtually, and people still were getting involved and were enjoying it as well, which is the main part. And I think now we are able to start organising things. Then clubs are starting to do them physically as well now, which is brilliant.
We are where we are. Yeah, 2021, there's no Highland Show again, sadly. But there is this showcase, and it's making the most of what we've all become, I suppose, sadly, a bit too used to, the online event and virtual event, but this is going to be something different. This is showcasing the best of the Highland Show to the wider world. And SAYFC, and you in particular, you have an involvement in this event. You want to just talk us through a bit about what's going on?
Yeah, I think the showcase is absolutely brilliant. Like, what's been done this year is great, just to show that, just to get everybody, some of the classes back in, getting judging, and just trying to make best of the situation, I think. From an SAYFC point of view and young farmer point of view, we are doing a few bits and pieces. We've got our own channel on the showcase website, which we're going to have various content being uploaded onto throughout the week, some archive stuff, some recently filmed stuff as well, which has been done, and also stuff that's been filmed during the week at the showcase, which is going to be put up as well. So that's quite exciting. We've also going to have our Facebook Live events on various days, just touching on different aspects of the show, a bit of the behind the scenes, and trying to bring the showcase to as many people as we possibly can. And then I suppose the main event for sort of young farmers is the Young Farmer of the Year 2020, which is slightly delayed 2020, but it is happening, which is great for the finalists, as the finalists were all announced back in February and they've not really known what point the competition was going to take place. So the fact it's now come round and they're able to take part in the event, it's going to be happening on the Sunday, on the last day of the showcase, all day. And I think they're really looking forward to it. And I think as well, we need to thank our sponsors as well. So ATV Services, RHASS, and also the Royal Bank of Scotland. I think they've been a great support in this competition throughout the years, and especially this year as well, in helping us put everything together and get everything sorted out to get it done, basically.
So this is actually it is a shop window for you. It's a shop window as much as the show is for livestock, etc. But this is a shop window for the organisation, for SAYFC.
That's what we're hoping. We're hoping the showcase is going to be obviously going internationally, and not just from rural aspect, but also bringing in other people in the country that are interested in the rural life. And we hope that they will be interested in what young farmers get up to, and potentially have never actually heard of what young farmers do. So pulling that aspect into it as well, I think, is also a key part.
So Hamish, how do we get new members? How do we keep take the momentum forward and take young farmers forward?
I think there's a few aspects to that, and the first one is getting clubs started up. You're not going to get new members unless clubs are active and are actually doing things. The second one is trying to promote what clubs are doing to those outside the rural industry. Rural people, we are aware, a lot of people are aware of what young farmers are already doing. Our mums and dads were in young farmers, our grandparents were in young farmers. We've been brought into it, and that's just how it has been. I think for us to get new members, we need to speak to the non-rural people. And young farmers is not just for people that wear wellies, as what it's been captioned as before. It's for everybody and anybody. I think we need to try and get that message out there as best we can. And how that is probably going into schools and speaking to people and things like that. But we just need to be actively trying to do that, I think.
What's the message? Why, if I was, I don't know, in a small town in the borders, not farming background, some of my mates might go along to young farmers. Do I give it a go? Is it up to the mates to convince me? How do we do it?
I think we need to show new members what events we do get up to. And I think a lot of people that aren't from a farming background or rural background, going along to a mock auction is probably very, very alien to them, especially if you've got no idea what an auction is.
There's still a lot of, correct me if I'm wrong here, but there's still a lot of sport as well, isn't there? I mean, in my day, we played a lot of rugby sevens and hockey at young farmers, and actually that was a way of bringing in people who, it might be Gav's mate from the rugby club comes along as a ringer, effectively, for a rugby sevens tournament, but has a good day, enjoys the social, and then comes along to a few more meetings and becomes a member. Is there still that kind of thing going on as well?
Oh yeah, those sorts of events are always taking place, both at club level, so clubs between clubs, but also district level and also national level. All those sorts of sports, hockey, netball, golf, everything. So there's plenty. That's what I mean. It's not just agricultural events and rural things we're up to. There's something for everyone in there.
Yeah. So this is Monday, the 14th of June, and this, I believe, is day one of what's going to be 7 days of the Royal Highland Showcase. What are you doing personally, Hamish? Because I think you're playing a big part in representing SAYFC as over the 7 days, aren't you?
Yes. So we are doing Facebook Live events on every day of the showcase, and we have got different presenters on different days. And I am actually at 12 o'clock today, on the first day, Monday, we'll be presenting on the Facebook Live, interviewing Bill Gray, the chairman of RHASS, and discussing various different parts of what's been going on over the last 18 months at the Highland Show, and how they've prepared for this, and what they're looking forward to for the week ahead. And then throughout the rest of the week, there's going to be various other different presenters from young farmers, bringing as much as they can of the showcase to you on your social media to watch in your own time, and bring some of the highlights, some of the things to look forward to, where to find the information on the showcase website, and hopefully try and get a bit of behind the scenes, interview some members, interview some of the Highland Show directors, the judges, as much as we can. When you say interview members, that's because the showcase is livestock showing, etc., that's actually happening at the showground. So there are people there, leading cattle around the show ring, etc., who are young farmers, and that's your take, isn't it? You want to speak to them and get a bit of behind the scenes, how they prepare, what it's like to be showing, etc. Yeah, totally. We want to sort of show everybody how much work goes into sort of getting your stock ready for attending the show, how much work is prepared and practicing of riding a horse around a course of show jumps, and the heavy horses as well, how much prep goes into getting all your tack and everything ready for the actual judging. And I think that's a key part that we want to try and get across, that it's not just turning up on the day. There's a lot of time and effort goes into some of these classes and these getting the stock to the best they can.
So this is actually really good because, you know, these behind-the-scenes looks and interviews, etc., that's the sort of thing that you wouldn't normally get in a, inverted commas, normal show. It's like bonus content, and I hope people take the time to tune in and see your Facebook Live and see these interviews, etc.
Yeah, I would hope so. And obviously, we want to try and bring as much as we can. We won't be able to bring everything, but we will try and bring as much as we can. We're planning on running them for about 10 to 15 minutes every day at 12 o'clock. So if you do want to listen to them, be ready to watch them on either the Young Farmers Facebook or the RHASS Facebook at 12 o'clock every day. And we'll try and get as much as we can for you.
And Saturday evening, am I right in saying that there's something quite special happening? A joint RHASS and SAYFC event on Saturday evening.
Yes, there is a very exciting event happening on Saturday of the show. There is a game show which is happening, being live streamed onto the Showcase website for everyone to watch. And there's going to be lots of different aspects to it. I'm not that involved with it, but I do know some of the things that are going on. And I think if you just think it's going to be a bit like Question of Sport, you'll be set up ready to watch it on Saturday evening.
I really thought you were going to say Keith Lemon and what's it called there? Celebrity Juice. I thought you were going to be more like that, are you not?
Well, I'm not wanting to give away too many secrets for you all to enjoy on the Saturday evening, but there might be some of that as well.
Very good, very good. And just before we go, Hamish, people might be listening to this, want to know more about SAYFC. They might look at the showcase and think, that's a real fun organisation. I'm interested in joining or finding out a wee bit more. Where do they go? Is it the website?
I think the best place to find out a bit more about what Young Farmers is up to and what the Scottish Association's up to is by visiting the SAYFC website. There's lots and lots of content on there to show you some of the things we get up to, and also our social media. Look at our Instagram, look at our Facebook, and we try and show as much as we can of what clubs are up to at various events, of what they're up to throughout the country, and that's probably your best bet. And if you are interested in joining, get in touch with any of us, any ways, either through the social media or completing the forms online, emailing us. All our contact details are on there, so drop us an email, get in touch, and we'll happily point you in the right direction of where to get involved.
I'm going to ask the question that everyone likes to ask when they think about Young Farmers. Is it just a dating agency, Hamish?
Absolutely no. There's a lot more to it than that. There's a lot of that, a lot of people meeting their future husband or wife, whoever it is, but it's not just that. There's a lot more to the association and what Young Farmers is.
Of course it is. I'm teasing you. Right. Hamish, Logan, thank you very much. That's been excellent. It's been great to hear about the showcase and great to hear about Young Farmers. Maybe some of the listeners don't know, but we at OnFARM and at Seen and Heard have a bit of a mentoring role with SAYFC, and I would really hope that in future weeks and months you'll be hearing some more SAYFC voices on this podcast, and I think that's a great thing, which I hope our listeners enjoy. I really was just teasing Hamish there. Obviously there's a lot more to Young Farmers than romance, but since the subject's come up, and I guess it was brought up earlier on in this episode too, what was it, Love in a Livestock trailer, that gives me the perfect excuse to play another clip from RHASS series last year. This one's from episode 2, looking at the social connections formed at the Highland Show.
Hi, I'm Jeannie.
And I'm Andrew, Jeannie's partner. We live just outside Duns in Berwickshire. To tell you the story of how we got together, we met at the Highland Show. We knew each other beforehand and had seen each other at the odd social
We were in the same Young Farmers Club. We were in Reston Young Farmers together, and you were really good friends with my cousins, and you'd been to Australia with my cousins as well. And but you and I didn't really know each other that well. And at the Highland Show dance, you were out with my cousin John, and I was out with my Auchencrew college friends, one of the agricultural colleges in Ayr. We had a few drinks.
Probably fair to say.
Yeah, along with a few of us at the Young Farmers Dance.
I don't think we had actually seen them that much of each other during the night.
No.
But we got speaking at the end of the night.
We did.
Probably because we couldn't find any of our friends.
That's right.
And we had a really good chat that night. And yeah, sort of after that, we started to see a bit more of each other.
You started texting me. And do you remember what I asked you?
What did you
I said, how many acres do you have?
Oh yeah, probably.
And if that's made you miss the Highland Show a little bit more, well, as I say, please do check out the showcase. Thanks to Jenny and Andrew, and thanks again to Hamish, our young farmer guest earlier. Next week, we'll be looking at the grain chain, and specifically how farmers could better cooperate to cut out the middleman. I think you'll all agree that's a timely subject. We've seen the recent collapse of Ingalls & Son, the grain merchants in East Lothian and the borders, and indeed up into Angus and Tayside. They've called in the administrators. Harvest is fast approaching. There's all sorts of questions about where's grain going to be stored, who can farmers deal with. So we're going to do a special episode all about that next week. Hope you'll tune in. That will be the last on farm before we take a summer break. And if you have a view on the direction the grain chain, specifically I suppose the malting barley chain, should be taking in Scotland, please do make contact. You can get us on Twitter at OnFARM UK. You can get us via the website, and you never know, you might even talk yourself into a starring role in next week's episode. So, that's it from me, and bye for now.